Hi everybody, how you doing? This week I want to talk about creating your own expectations, your own definitions of success. The question that this is based off is, where does our definition of success come from? Does it come from ourselves? Does it come from society? Does it come from our parents? Does it come from the way that we were raised in our environment, our education system? And the answer is probably a little bit of all of the above. And oftentimes, more so than not, a lot of these external factors tend to dominate the expectations we have of ourselves. So my proposal for you in the conversation I want to have about is reflecting where our expectations come from and recognizing that as a young adult, it's within your responsibility and your autonomy to be able to define and create your own expectations for yourself. So today I'm going to be joined with one of our ARDs, Anjanette, and she's going to reflect on her expectations of herself and how she has been able to balance that with the expectations of the outside world. Okay. Hi, Anjanette. Thanks for joining us here today. Can you please introduce yourself for me and for our viewers?
Yeah, so my name's Anjanette. I'm the ARD at Tropicana Student Living, and this is my third year with Trop. And yeah, I'm an English major. I go to Cal State Channel Islands, and I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. Anjanette, in our conversations together, you have struck me as very much a wise human being, and so I'd like to pick your brain and ask for your experience to be shared with some of the residents here so that they can have some light shined on their own sort of experience. So my question for you is, what is your definition of success? What are your expectations for yourself?
So my definition of success has changed over the years. It started with, what success in a typical stance is like how much power, money, and external sources that I can achieve. Whereas now it's more internal, so it's like for school, am I learning the material that I need to learn moreover than the grade that I get? Although we all want to achieve the highest grade, for me it's more important that I get the information and the grade will reflect that. So it's more internal, whereas it's like, am I enjoying what I'm doing? More like, does it make me happy? And success is achieving whatever goal I have for myself.
Nice, very nice. I think you articulate really nicely the difference between a grade as a determining factor, a measurement of success versus this is what I want to learn. How do I gauge my own competency and interest in what I'm learning versus something that's coming from the outside, a measurement, an A, a B, or C, or whatever it might be, praise from your teacher. Mm-hmm. Those are important things, obviously, but that intrinsic motivation, your own definition of success, is a really beautiful thing to come to. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, and so my second question for you is, considering that your academic institution and perhaps your family and these other sources still have these expectations, you have to maintain a certain GPA to stay in school, you have to maintain a certain GPA to pass your courses. How do you balance your own expectations for yourself that you just described with those of family and academics?
It took me a while to get to that balance, but I think what really helped was having an honest conversation with myself and then with my mother, because she's the parent that has that expectation, and she's always been like, yeah, reach the highest that you can, do the best that you can. And sometimes I have to let myself know that the best that I can doesn't always mean it's the best that someone else can, because I'm comparing myself to someone else when it's just me that I need to be worrying about. Because I'm the one that's doing the work towards these goals. So the challenge for me was being honest with myself and not comparing myself, especially since I had all these expectations from other people. And it's not like I wanted to disregard these expectations. It was more, I just wanted to be honest with okay, this expectation you have of me may not be the best for me because it's adding more pressure, it's adding more stress. Can we meet to some middle ground where it's like, I know I can do this, and this is possible, and you still will be proud of me?
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I want to highlight a few things. I think, for one, you recognize and have expressed that it is a journey. It's something that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Two, I love the way that you say that you had a conversation with yourself. And this whole conversation is one that is about having that conversation with you. It's about a self-discovery, a self-creation of your own expectations. It's not so much about other people. That being said, the conversation about having balance means that you are finding a way to meet in the middle with those who have their expectations of you. Mm-hmm. And the last thing that I really want to highlight that I think is amazing is the recognition that some of these expectations from the external world of your family, of your academics, can put a lot of pressure on you. Yeah. And so asking yourself that question in that conversation with yourself, is this serving me? Is this healthy for me? Is this the kind of pressure that I want to put on myself? And deciding for yourself to choose something that it sounds like is more nourishing and more spacious and probably has a lot less anxiety and pressure that drives it. Would you say so?
Yeah, definitely. It's finding that recognition of like, okay, do I really want to kill myself to reach this expectation, to reach this goal? That's not impossible, but it's just harder on me. Or do I want to get to this other expectation, this goal for myself, and have everyone understand that this is where I'm at?
Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So creating our own expectations, our own definitions of success means that we need to encourage our own positive reinforcement. So even though the external circumstances, the external factors that may have given us praise and encouragement before are sort of holding true to their expectations of success, now you creating your own means that has to come from the inside. And as Anjanette realized, that means having a conversation with yourself. That means reflecting inward and really, in the end, having positive self-talk to encourage yourself in the direction that is most unique and authentic to you. That takes time. It's a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. Anjanette is a little bit older, so she's been through that journey for a longer period of time. And I ask you to be compassionate with yourself and easy on yourself in terms of it's not going to change overnight. But hoping that you will reflect on that as we come to the end of the year, because it's super important as a young adult to start to create from the inside out your own expectations of yourself. So I want to leave you with a couple of reflection questions that are going to be answered uniquely to yourself. The first one is, what is my definition of success? What are my expectations for myself? And how do those differ, or how are they the same from the expectations of external circumstances like the academic institution, my family, society, culture? And if they are different, how do I balance the two? The last thing that I'll say is that failing elegantly is a part of creating this positive expectation set for yourself. So later this week in our next video, we're going to talk about how to fail forward, how to learn from our mistakes, which we all make, without beating ourselves up. And if this conversation has sparked an interest in you, I'd love for you to join us in a conversation more deeply about it in Content Mentoring on Thursday at 3 p.m. We're going to meet outside of Tropicana Gardens in the front, perhaps dive more deeply into this topic. Thanks for listening. Have a good week.
Back